Hello everyone, this is candidate master Victor Neustroev. I would like to analyze the fifth game from the first round of our online tournament. This is the game between Natalie Chalaya and Elliot Tadic. Here Natalie was playing with white pieces. Of course, she knew how to play it. She is quite inexperienced in this position. She always plays Sicilian variation with black pieces. That's why she knows how to react with white pieces. But for some reason, this game is full of blunders from both sides. Okay, e4, c5, knight f3, e6, d4, c takes on d4, a6. So this is variation. Knight c3 was played by white, queen c7, bishop e2, knight f6, castle, and bishop b4. This is a strange move. Usually it doesn't make sense to develop the bishop to b4 while the king is already castled, because there is no pin. However, by playing this move, black attacks on c3 and wants to trade the bishop for a knight and get extra pawn, and also take the e4 pawn. However, in this position it can be bishop g5 played, and if bishop c3, then bishop f6, g takes on f6, b takes c3, and this position is fine. Let's continue queen c3, then maybe just rook e1 or rook b1, something like that. Okay, let's do rook e1. Here, because of the weakness of the dark squares, white has a compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Moreover, black didn't do anything to develop the pieces. So bishop g5 could work. However, the move that Natalie played was also good. Queen d3, protecting everything. How to play in this position? Of course, castle was the best option. Then white is slightly better. Then maybe bishop g5. Knight b3 as well can be played. I like bishop g5 move actually. And I believe after bishop g5, black has nothing to do but to take on c3 or to get back to e7. However, Elliot played b5, and this move was a mistake. Why? Because now a4 can be played. If a4 can be played in another position, in a similar position, when there is no knight on b4, then black could play b4 with his pawn, threaten the knight, and of course it would be in black favor. But as for this concrete position, the only thing that black can do not to lose the pawn is to take on a4. But then even rook a4, and this position is fine. For example, bishop c3, rook c4, queen b7. Then let's take with the pawn, I think is okay to get the b file open. And the e4 is not hanging because this bishop is hanging. So b5 was a mistake because of a4, but Natalie didn't realize it. She played f4. And black decided to play d6. Actually, this move was played automatically. This is a logical move. The idea is to stop any counterplay with e5. If white gets the center, then it's difficult to find where to get this knight to, and actually white dominates in such a case. But in some cases we may allow white to play e5 if we are black. However, in this position, instead knight c6 was a good option. And if e5 now, then knight takes on d4. What's the idea? If queen takes on d4, of course bishop c5 winning the queen. That's why e takes on f6 should be played. But then bishop c3, b takes on c3, knight e2 check, queen takes on e2, and then just g takes on f6. Here black is better. Black has one extra pawn, the g file, and a good bishop on b7, with a clear plan to increase the pressure on g2, maybe to double the bishop and queen. If, for example, after knight c6, white plays knight c6 himself, then what? Queen c6 can be played. e5, bishop c3, b takes on c3, and then just bishop b7 first, bishop f3, but it's fine. Just knight d5 is okay in this position because we can always get rid of this pin by playing queen b6 check. Maybe we don't need to do anything. Here we control the c4 square, what is more important. We may castle, we may play rook c8, everything can be played. But d6 was played, d6, and then bishop f3. Bishop takes e3, pawn takes, bishop b7, e5 now. What's the idea of this move? Well, the idea was that he takes, then bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, for example. No, actually here it takes on f6 and white is winning. Because if bishop retreats, then white takes the pawn on g7, then play queen h7 and win a rook. Maybe that was the idea. However, it was okay just to play knight d5 here, or knight d7. Actually, knight d5 was played, e takes d6, queen takes d6, and bishop b4, the move that I don't understand at all. What's the idea of this move? To take on h7? I doubt that white really needs this pawn. Moreover, even if he takes the pawn and then gets his bishop away, the rook can start playing on the h file. At the same time, it can be really risky to take this pawn, because there is a risk to lose this bishop on h7. Instead of bishop e4, how to play? a4, just with the idea to get some counterplay on that file and be able to play bishop a3, oh, not a4 of course, here bishop to a3, threatening the queen and preventing black from castling. Bishop e4, knight d7, it's a good move. Bishop h7, this is a huge blunder after which black is winning. Black wins a piece immediately. How? What do you think? Black can play knight c5, the queen has to move to h3, and then just knight f6. There is no way to protect this bishop on h7, and nothing that white can do to move the bishop away because the queen is hanging on h3. So this is the cost that was paid for the pawn on h7. That really doesn't mean anything in this position. Knight c5, also bishop a3 can be played, but then b4 to stop this attack, to close the diagonal, bishop b4, knight b4, and the queen is hanging. But Elliot didn't play this move. I believe he played automatically g6, what is a huge mistake, because bishop g6, f takes g6, queen takes g6. White got 3 pawns for that bishop. Moreover, king e7 cannot be played because of queen g7 and white wins a rook. That's why only king d8 would work. But after this move, knight e6, king c8, and there are 4 pawns for the bishop. Of course, even in this position, black is better, but just slightly better. It's not a winning position. Instead of winning a piece, black could get this position with a strong attack on the enemy king, on the black king, of course. So g6, I don't know why, but Natalie didn't take this pawn, and I don't really understand why. I believe she understood that this is not a good way to save this bishop, at least because of this move. And then it's over. The bishop is lost. However, even in this position, another blunder was played by black. It was knight c3 move. And if only queen c3, rook h7, It's a still a playable position. Black is just slightly better. But for some reason, Natalie played bishop e3 to protect on d4. Black castled. f5. I don't know why. E takes f5. Knight takes f5. Bishop f4. The move that doesn't make sense at all. Another blunder because knight e2 check. Knight takes on f4. Queen c3 check. Then bishop escapes to f2, but then just bishop g2 and the game is over. If king g1, then for example this move can be played. However, I believe that instead white, not instead, but in this position we are not taking the queen. Oh yeah, we take the queen, but anyway we'll checkmate the king in 5 moves after that. So after bishop g2 the game is over. Another option in this position was to sacrifice the rook, then give this check and win the queen. Anything can be played. So here you see the pawn on h2 was lost, but it didn't really improve white's position. It only allowed black to increase this pressure on the king on h1. Because of no pawn on h7, black could attack the king. Okay, this is a game full of blunders and mistakes. However, the position was sharp and I recommend you to play Sicilian. Maybe not Can Sicilian, but just any Sicilian, because in this opening we play for 3 results. White can win, white can draw, and of course black can win. Black wants to get the counterplay and finally apply tactical strike, or just find some tactics, or just attack the pawns on the queen side. Okay, thank you for your attention. I'm also planning to analyze another 5th game of our tournament, the 5th game that would be played on the 2nd round. I believe I can do it next week.